Okay, you're all set?
Yes.
Welcome to the dignified episode of the Mary Elizabeth Show.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. You have a tree growing out of your head. You know that? We can't move this. It's a stationary thing. We might get up and do some stuff. But
Yeah.
so tell me. So I understand. Wait, we were talking about food all this time.
Yeah.
I bought some on sale, some granola. But you know what granola is? You know what granola is, Mary?
Granola is like a cereal, but except that you don't have to put milk in it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a granola bar.
Like
You know what a granola bar is?
Yeah.
Granola. Well, you're right. It's a cereal.
Cereal bar.
It's a cereal bar. It's kind of candy. If a horse could eat candy. It's oats, and it's a natural thing. A lot of people poo-poo granola bars, obviously. All the oats and but they poo-poo them in a sense that they say, well, they're not as healthy as everyone thinks they are. They're full of a lot of stuff. But it has milk, peanut, and soy ingredients. Is that good or bad? It has roasted peanuts, rice flour, malodendron, sunflower seeds, sugar, canola oil. Doesn't sound all that bad. I don't see that much preservatives. Let me tell you something. Yeah, I don't eat preservatives if I can help it. You never see me eat processed food if I can help it, because and I'm healthier as a result of it. All during the COVID thing, I never got COVID.
Yeah.
Famous last words. And so I used to eat granola bars. Is that it? Granola. I'm doing an ad for them.
Yeah.
I used to eat granola bars all the time, to the point that I was this weirdo. We're talking about, in high school when everyone else was eating McDonald's and Snickers bars and Bugles and everything. I'm eating granola bars, and they say, "Well, wow, what are you, some sort of hippie with some sort of health nut?" Yeah, I am. They're ahead of the game. So anyway, the reason why I got these granola bars, not that there's anything. These are actually exceptional ones. All right. These ones are. We're gonna have two. We have two of them here, and I've never had these before. Granola bars tend to have honey and maple and flavors. This is white cheddar. This is a cheese flavored granola bar.
That sounds
all right,
good. That
sounds good.
Yes.
I hope so. This has cheese and oats, so I'm going to give you half, and I'm going to take half.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take the small one. I just want a bite of this because I've already eaten. How is it?
Good.
It's good. You haven't even tasted it. You just stuck it.
I'm eating it right now.
What does it taste like? It tastes like Cheetos smooshed into granola bars. What it tastes like? It's a salty flavor. Cheese is salty, so it has a different type of flavor. It fall on you. Every time I eat this stuff, it's always falling. I'm always picking it, putting it in my mouth, and it goes, tastes better off my coat. All right. Well, that tastes interesting. This is white cheddar.
Yeah.
Granola bars. All right. I've never had anything other than sweet tasting granola bars.
Yeah.
I feel like a hippie now, eating granola bars. All right. We're going to have another granola. Finish that one. I'll just talk about granola bars. I got so much to say. Granola bars were the type of thing my mom would make us eat instead of chocolate bars and stuff. My mom always made sure there was peanuts or raisins or almonds in our chocolate bars. She didn't want us to eat just chocolate. And granola, there's actually chocolate covered granola bars. They're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, chocolate on anything tastes good.
Yeah.
What am I saying? That's not a surprise. So, what is your verdict, Mary?
It's really good.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.
That's good. Now we have. I'm not kidding you. Smoky barbecue.
Yep. Barbecue. I never heard of that one.
I never heard of barbecue flavor infused granola bar. Now, barbecue. Did you ever have barbecue potato chips?
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, we used to eat potato chips. There wasn't a whole lot. There wasn't even any tortilla chips when I was a kid. Which actually, tortilla chips are just. Let's face it, tortilla chips are just corn chips,
Yeah.
Fritos, Fritos. But they put some sort of fancy nacho cheese on it, or Cool Ranch on it,
Yeah.
or something that whatever Doritos are. Or you could buy the store brand,
Yeah.
and then they put a lot of flavors on other ones. But it's but whenever we got barbecue potato chips, were the first different potato chip. I think Wise made them. Maybe Lay's made them too. But whenever we saw them in the vending machine,
Yeah.
we said, "Oh, we got to have the barbecue potato chips,"
Yeah.
and they were better.
I used to like them when I was a kid.
So we have smoky barbecue. I'll tell you what's in there. You take this, and I'll take. This is the prices on it. Oh, here we go. Smoky barbecue. While you're eating that, I'll tell you what's in this. Roasted peanuts, rice flour, maltodextrin. I don't like that. Sunflower seeds, sugar, canola oil, blah, blah, blah. And all this other garbage. Vinegar. How's it taste?
Oh.
It tastes good.
Uh-huh.
This tastes like barbecue potato chips. Let me taste it. Oh, I like these better. There's a more tomatoey flavor. Vinegar, brown sugar. It's notes, different notes. We need some we need some white wine or something to drink with. Mm. Smoky barbecue granola bars. Ain't that a kick in the head? So now I don't like it. I don't. I like the cheese better. The white cheddar, because this is just a condiment smooshed on the granola bar. I like things sweet. I'm not a really salty guy. If you like potato chips, if you like barbecue potato chips, this is probably more up your alley. Probably better for you than barbecue. Potato chips are no good for you.
I love to have another white cheddar.
Well, we got a show to do.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying after the show's
You'll
over.
get after the show's over. You have all you want. I tell you what, I don't like. I don't like these things, and they only put one in these. These are put two in there. That's the old joke. It goes, the food at this restaurant are terrible. It's just small portions. Another story like that is we go to the 7-Eleven and they said if the first cup of coffee isn't any good, we'll give you a second one for free. Well, is the second one going to be better?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pop-Tarts. They could put two in a package.
I used to love Pop-Tarts when I was growing up.
And yeah, and everyone does. And they would have, if you look at the ingredients on the side and the sugar and the calorie content and how unhealthy they are for you, they always put for one of them. They said if you only eat one Pop-Tart, this is the garbage you're putting in your system. But they don't realize you're going to eat two of them.
Yeah.
As soon as you open it, you're going to eat both of them anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone has ever opened a, unless they were with somebody, that they could hand the other one to. If you open it by yourself, a packet of Pop-Tarts, and there's two of them in there, you're going to eat both of them.
Yeah. See, I didn't know how not healthy it was back then. So.
Oh! Arsenio Hall had a joke.
Yeah.
Was that when his mother gave him like $10 to buy groceries or
Yeah.
$20?
Yeah.
Was that time that bought you groceries? He would go there and he'd just buy candy and cookies and soda. He goes, where's the fruit and vegetables? Where's the meat and potatoes? He goes, did you bring any fruit? And then Arsenio Hall says, I brought some blueberry Pop-Tarts.
He was
So, have you been watching any old-time TV shows lately?
the Waltons.
The Waltons.
They come on every day at 12 o'clock on MeTV.
Oh, the Waltons is good.
Yeah.
I used to love the Waltons.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't like the Waltons. my family were big Waltons people, except me. I never found the Waltons all that funny.
It's supposed to be a family show, a family drama show.
Yeah, and I was more. The only family I liked was the Addams family. So, but you like the Waltons. You know what I noticed about the Waltons? I did watch it. You know, I had seen it and just complained the whole time. Why do we have to watch the Waltons? Because well, you're watching it more than they are. They're all like playing with their blocks and stuff. You're actually paying attention to it. So I used to watch the Waltons, and a lot of weird things I found out about the Waltons. One is that they had a big family. How many were in that family? Like about 20?
There were 7 children in the family.
7 children in the family, parents and grandparents and everything.
So there were
dogs and cats and everything.
There were 11 together, 11 people.
And I remember on the Waltons, it was a very sad show. People were always dying on that show. And I said the reason why they had a big family was every week they killed off another member of the family.
Yeah.
They never ran out of shows because they kept killing off people.
Yeah.
So somebody said, no, you have it all wrong. You didn't watch it enough. They didn't kill off a member of the family every show.
Yeah.
What they did do was if a new character moved in the neighborhood at the beginning of the show, they were dead by the end of the show. That's how they kept the show. I remember John Ritter, the first time I ever saw John Ritter. He played the preacher on the show,
Yeah.
but he was kind of a weird guy on the show.
Yeah.
And there was even though the people on the show were very religious, I mean the characters were, they didn't sugarcoat religion. There were a lot of like a corrupt clergymen, and I think John Ritter was one of those characters. And I remember that there was what I always thought was really wild about that show was the father was played by Ralph Waite. And whenever the family would go to church, you didn't really see people go to church on television the whole lot in those days.
Yeah.
And they did. But what was really weird was the father always stayed home. And they never explained it. The show was on for like 10 years, and it wasn't until maybe the last year or something they explained why the father never goes to church. And he said it in one simple sentence. He says, I prefer to worship in my own way.
Yeah.
And I thought, perfect. So whenever I was ever dragged to church and I don't want to go, I would say, I prefer to worship in my own way. Which I thought was a great. In reality, the man was, I think, the actor was a minister.
Yeah.
I mean, he had other talents, but he was a minister. And what else on that show? They Earl Hamner created it.
Yeah.
And when I was in school, at really much the peak of its popularity, the Earl Hamner's sister came. She made a tour of all the schools and started giving lectures about because it took place in Virginia, and would talk about the Waltons and talk about how it's different from the show, but how it's not a whole lot different from the show. And it was based on a show called The Homecoming, a TV movie.
Yeah.
And for the most part, the whole cast, except for the mother and father, were the same. I think Patricia Neal and some other guy played the parents, and Ralph Waite and Michael Learned played the parents on the show, and it was really good. The actor who played the grandfather on the show was a guy called Will Geer,
Yeah.
and he was actually famously blacklisted in the 1950s. He was
Wow.
for McCarthyism. He was a very liberal actor, and he was happy to get that part. It was like his first major part in 20 years being on the
Yeah.
Waltons. Now, when I was a kid, everyone loved the Waltons, and it took a show I was watching at the time off the air, which was the most popular show at the time, was the Flip Wilson show.
Yeah.
And of course, I wanted to watch the Flip Wilson show, the comedy show, the variety show. That's what we should do. We should do a variety show like the 1960s. Because I'm watching all those lately
Yeah.
on YouTube and on
Yeah.
MeTV and all those other. Because and Flip Wilson was a very funny show, and but the Waltons was on CBS, and Earl Hamner created it. Earl Hamner, I don't know what else he did other than the Waltons, but I mean other things. But I'll tell you what else he's done. He did a movie called Where the Lilies Bloom, a
Oh,
very good
yeah.
movie.
I saw that movie.
Yeah, about a family having to deal with their father who died, and the father was played by Rance Howard, who was Ron Howard's father.
Yeah.
And I remember really good movie, and it had Harry Dean Stanton as what seemed to be the villain. As the movie goes on, he's not as villainous as it turns out. But and we love that movie, Where Lilies Bloom. Earl Hamner wrote it. Earl Hamner also wrote a few Twilight Zone episodes. He wrote a famous Twilight Zone episode about this little girl and her brother who kept wanting to go down to the bottom of the swimming pool,
Yeah.
and that was our friend Mary Badham,
Oh,
who played Scout. Mary Badham's only famous really for two things. That's being To Kill a Mockingbird, and being on the last episode of the Twilight Zone, which was written by the creator of Waltons, Earl Hamner. So when we see Mary, we always ask her about that type of thing. But the Waltons, looking back on it, is a very good show. It was very well written show, and it was it might have been sad, it might have been kind of corny and old fashioned. Good night, John Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I got to tell you, I met John Boy, Richard Thomas last year. We went to see our group went to see To Kill a Mockingbird. Richard Thomas is coming to Richmond, playing Atticus Finch, and we had dinner with him at a restaurant. And we didn't talk to him; he was at the other table. But when it was all over, I went up to him and started talking to him and introduced the people from the theater. And he was Mary Badham, our friend, was in that show. She was in the original with Gregory Peck, and she was in the version I was in as Atticus Finch, and the version he was in. And I even told him when I left him, I said, we're at there's this club of Atticus Finches who've worked with Mary Badham, and it's a very rarefied group. There's you, me, and Gregory Peck. And he was very nice. Richard Thomas, yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Waltons, yes, the Waltons. There was a show like when the Waltons was very popular. They had another show after that called Apple's Way with Ronnie Cox, who was in Deliverance. I think he gets killed in Deliverance, but he's in RoboCop. He's in a lot of stuff. But what was funny about it, it was more of a Waltons in the modern day. But for some reason, the Waltons of the 1930s couldn't be a similar family could not be updated to the 1970s, and it was a little too it was kind of a weird show.
Yeah.
It had Ronnie Cox. I don't remember much about it except it only lasted the 1 year, and if you were kind of lukewarm on the Waltons, you really hated this show. Vincent Van Patten, I remember on there, yeah. And I think the first time I ever saw Farrah Fawcett Majors was on that show, yeah. So, let me tell you, speaking of the old times, I used to watch this show all the time when I was a kid. This is my favorite show when I was a kid. The Banana Splits.
Oh, yeah.
You know anything about the Banana Splits?
I knew some about them, but...
Yeah. The Banana Splits were the show by Hanna-Barbera, and it came out in 1968. And I really got into the show. I think I was kind of misled. They had a lot of ads wanting you to watch it and everything. So I ate it up. Oh, I gotta watch the show. And all it was these men in costumes playing these 4 hippie type animals. There was a rock and roll band who lived in a psychedelic house, and it was an hour-long show with lots of other shows. Danger Island. It was directed by Richard Donner, who made who went on to make The Omen and Superman and all the Lethal Weapon movies. And it's you watch it now. It's almost like an acid trip for 8-year-olds. I was trying to really love this show when I was a kid. I actually at one time tried to convince myself that they weren't men in costumes, but real people, real personified animals. I know that a lot of people I know. I know that a lot of people I know that grew up with this show, we all started wearing sunglasses on a regular basis because the Banana Splits always wore sunglasses, except for Flegel. And Flegel was my favorite. He was like the top dog of the show. And there was Flegel was a dog. There was Bingo was a gorilla, he was red gorilla. That's him on the cover there. Drooper was a lion, and Snorky was an elephant. And he never talked. He was more the Harpo Marx of the group. But you watch it now, it is. You wonder how they got this past the kids. Now, I got to tell you something else, buddy. Hanna-Barbera created this show. It was their first kind of live-action show. The guys who they were subcontracted Sid and Marty Krofft to create these characters and create these costumes. And I think Sid and Marty Krofft were paid those days a lot of money, $50,000 to do this. But Hanna-Barbera, through licensing and reruns and everything, made millions of dollars. And that's when Sid and Marty Krofft said, "Oh, we could do things on our own. we don't need someone else to take all the money. Well, we have the brains and everything." So so Sid and Marty Krofft created, the Donnie Marie show and H.R. Puff and stuff, and Lidsville, and a lot of good stuff. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, and a lot of that stuff is kind of acid trippy. Maybe not Donnie and Marie, but all the other stuff. And that's the Banana. Oh, this is actually not really the Banana Splits as I remember. This is actually It shows you how bad times are. They actually got whoever owns the Banana Splits. I guess Hanna-Barbera sold it to this low-budget producer to make a horror movie where they're killing people at amusement park. They use the same characters and the same costumes, a little altered a bit so they're not exactly the same, and they're murdering like people in an amusement park. I couldn't wait to see this movie, and it only came out like about less than 5 years ago. So I couldn't even see it. I had to actually buy the DVD, and that's what I have here. So the Banana Splits. Did you what were any shows you liked when you were a little kid, like Saturday morning cartoon shows?
I used to watch Get Along Gang.
Get Along Gang? Okay.
With the dog and the moose and all that.
Yeah.
And then I used to watch what did I used to watch? Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Okay.
That was way back in the. It didn't last very long, but it was from 1983 to 1986.
There was a controversy about a lot of these Saturday morning shows that they were created by Hasbro and by Mattel.
Yeah.
And they were just created to sell toys.
Oh.
In other words, they invented the toys, or they made the cartoon afterward just to advertise the kids to buy these things or want them for Santa Claus to bring them and stuff.
Oh.
And I remember some guy with a fancy suit was on Donahue and saying, "Is this anything different?" He's like the producer of them. He goes, "Is this anything different? I mean, what about the Hallmark Hall of Fame? That's a card company that produces shows." He goes, and Donahue said, "Yeah, but not every plot of every Hallmark movie is about people creating or selling greeting cards."
Yeah.
This was simply aimed at kids to sell stuff, so the GoBots and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I mean, Star Wars kind of crystallized that to the point where I don't even know what is Star Wars anymore. It's all just action figures and dolls. then I mean, if kids like to play with that stuff, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was the Care Bear movie.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
all just a toy, all about toys. There was a movie, the Cabbage Patch Kid movie.
I still got my Care Bear.
You still got your Care Bear.
Yeah.
You see? See how insidious they how they just sneak into your when you're not even paying attention. Yes. Now, before we go on, I have a CD that I've been listening to. Now, you're going to be, or we're going to try out later this year, GYPSY.
Yes, Gypsy. Yes, I
GYPSY.
can't wait.
And GYPSY, we've mentioned it a few times on the show. GYPSY's about a stripper.
Yeah.
And a bunch of teenage kids are going to put this on. It's about Gypsy Rose Lee, who's a famous, I hate to say stripper. She was a fan dancer. She was an exotic dancer. I mean, she was actually a big deal in her day, Gypsy Rose Lee.
Yeah.
But now if anyone knows anything about Gypsy Rose Lee, I mean, I saw her as a kid on talk shows, and she was on the Hollywood Squares a few times. She was a very beautiful woman. But Natalie Wood played her in the movie Gypsy, and the stage show is Gypsy. Now, this is a guy called Jule Styne. And I got the CD, and a lot of the Gypsy songs are on here. And it's Michael Feinstein sings, and Jule Styne. And and you think you're not going to like this CD, and it's just a guy playing the piano, which is Jule Styne. He's 85 years old at the time. It's 1991.
Wow.
And Michael Feinstein's still performing. And he's singing all these, and actually Jule Stein's singing too. And let me tell you what some of the songs on here are. There's the Gypsy songs, but he's most famous for writing People. I mean, People from, he wrote all the songs in Funny Girl, and he wrote all the songs in Gypsy.
Yeah.
And let me tell you some of these songs. I've heard that song before for the Harry James Band. They say I've heard that song before. It's from an old familiar score. And there's a few other songs. A lot of these songs I've never heard of. They're from shows that I've never seen or even heard of. But then some really nice songs. I Fall in Love Too Easily, and I Guess I'll Hang My Tears Out to Dry. Both those by Sammy Kahn wrote I think Jule Styne writes the music. Time After Time, Just in Time. He wrote songs from Bells Are Ringing with Judy Holliday. He wrote The Party's Over, Make Someone Happy. You probably heard that in commercials. Yeah. I'll Walk Alone, Time Out. But the Gypsy songs are the most interesting. And the songs from Gypsy are, Let Me Entertain You, Let Me Make You Smile. You know that song?
Yeah.
That's what my proctologist says every time he gives me a prostate exam. Big Broadway fan. The other, and he sing, and from Gypsy is All I Need Is the Girl. I got my top hat, got my best vest. All I need now is the girl.
Shake a boom, shake a boom, shake a boom.
You know that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but the most famous song from Gypsy is Everything's Coming Up Roses. And we were singing it in the car. It was so good. Curtain up, light the lights. You got nothing to hit but the heights. Starting here, starting now. Everything's coming up roses. And now the ghost of Ethel Merman will sing with us. That was like her theme song. But I was so impressed with this album. I mean, this only goes to show you all you need is good songs, a good pianist, and a good singer, and you have a very delightful CD. And this is what happened. And there's actually, I'm not kidding you. There's 33 songs. I've said that. I must have said that. I'm not kidding you. I must have said that about 10 times already on this show. But there's 33 songs on here, and they're all good. Some are better than others, but they're all good. So check this out if you get a chance. Or listen, anytime you go to a thrift store or a yard sale or something and see anything by Michael Feinstein, you know you're going to get top drawer quality stuff, Because he's like I saw him when he came to the mosque. I didn't meet him, but I saw him on stage, and he was so good. He sings. He was a protege of Ira Gershwin. He was actually like his historian. Got all the stuff, and he got see all the sheet music of the Gershwins,
Yeah.
and then Irving Berlin, and then everybody
Yeah.
else. Harold Arlen that Ira wrote songs for, like The Man That Got Away and stuff. And he's like our new Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Fred Astaire, if you remember, only sang songs the way they were written. He didn't try to add anything to them. And Michael Feinstein does the same thing. So Michael Feinstein is the man to hear it, and the voice is very delightful. I once
Yeah.
saw him on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I don't think he did very well. He got all the music questions right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was watching Jeopardy as a kid, if one of the categories wasn't sports, I changed the channel. How are those people so smart?
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for inviting me to your soiree here.
No problem. And I just want to say thank you all for tuning in, and may God bless you. Take care.
See you again. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
Yep. God bless you all. Take care.